Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Dreamers Game 1, where we are playing Yomi. This is turn 93. Jump into things. Alright, right off the bat, we actually have a bit of interesting, not really trade, kind of just being given items here. We've been in very good communication with Helheim, good terms with Helheim for the majority of the game. So as Helheim is and like making some final stands, etc., they are cleaning out their inventory and just sending us useful stuff. So, from Helheim for trade, we are getting this turn 3 rings of returning, 1 skull staff, 1 water bracelet, and 1 thistle mace. And these are all basically just items where Helheim contacted me and was like, "Yo, I have all this stuff," and I was like, "Cool. Send me any boosters and any rings of returning, because those are obviously going to be super useful." And I might continue to communicate with Helheim to see what other stuff they have, what might be useful, but it's just kind of just a seeing how things go as they go kind of situation. Aside from that, we have an attack from a horror on Lagash, our Sea King, who has been producing flasks of holy water for us. Lagash is kitted out with a ring of returning. Really, we need to put a amulet of anti-magic on him as well, right? He's got enough HP that he'll survive almost any single hit, meaning the ring of returning will take him back to his place of spawning, a place of safety, etc., away from the horrors that are trying to kill him. The only real, like, uh-oh kind of moment is if he gets soul slayed. So a amulet of anti-magic is going to help prevent that, and we should make that investment. He was relatively pricey. He generates water gems for us every single turn. He's worth protecting. That is something that we should do. Let's see how he goes. He's going to try 2 Frozen Heart, and he gets smacked before he even gets to do anything. So immediately returns. But that's okay. That's a win, right? And that is the only thing we have. So versus horrors, 1 win, 0 losses. Happy to have that. And that's how you deal with astral corruption. You get mindless things, you get rings of returning, etc., Oh my god, I have all of this working knowledge now from the Tetragrammaton game and from experimenting with things since the Tetragrammaton game, but that doesn't mean I want to implement it. I'm still not happy about it. Alright, anyways, aside from that, we have done some blood hunting. We have plus 44 blood slaves. Yay, fantastic. That is good for us. Got a couple of battles. We attacked the Indies in Salt Plains that took the location from us. They're just a bunch of militia, so this should not be any real competition. Hordes of skeletons coming out. Nope. They were getting close to us and then they broke. So very nice. Easy peasy. And then we did a cheeky little rigor mortis play in God's Tomb Mountain. So let's see how this actually goes. We've got a couple of Ko-Oni. We've got Bone Shudder, the Vampire Lord, and Dimu, the Mound King. Then we've got Man-Hate the Lich and Fear Tongue the Lich. So we are facing off against not much, actually. This is less than I had anticipated being here. This is a lot of Ether Warriors, which is really the big problem, but I had expected that there were going to be more Augurs, Augur Elders, etc. I also don't see his god here, or Urmor's god here, so I assume I was right when I said that Urmor's god, I think they were in the battle at Urmor. I just didn't remember it. It looks like there's only a single augur here, which actually is a big deal. There are, however, several Ether Lords. Looks like 3 Ether Lords. a couple of Tartarians, though none of them are awakened, and thus not super dangerous. So this looks mostly like it is going to be a infantry battle against some Ether Warriors. Let's see how this plays out, shall we? Rigor Mortis thrown out right off the top. There's some body ethereal coming out. It looks like this Tartarian monstrum got body etherealed, which is a little annoying, right? This thing has a lot of HP, so it's going to be very difficult for the corpse constructs to deal with it, meaning they're going to get very distracted. The Rigor Mortis comes out. This is actually kind of an unfortunate situation. The Ether Warriors they weren't like on a hold or anything like that. They ran forward immediately, and our Ko-Onis were rather slow getting to the gap. So the Ether Warriors are actually out, and we don't want that. We want the Ether Warriors as plugged up as we can. So this is kind of unfortunate. But Rigor Mortis is out. We can see the Ether Lords are all but fatigued or being fatigued, right? So that's good. The Tartarian monstrum in the back has been killed. And we've got waves of undead moving forward. Some disintegrates, some clouds of death coming out. Not the worst thing in the world, but now all our Ko-Oni are dead. We need, let's see what we're doing. We've got 37, 24, 103, 61, 82, 50, 84 on that, 72 on that. We're getting there. We're getting there. We need a couple more turns of Rigor Mortis going out. Shit. So this is part of the problem. And this is probably just poor choice on my behalf, right? So I realized this after the fact, but I did not think about it ahead of the scenario. And that is can we even check it right now? Or yeah, no, we cannot. Unit overview. See. He has retreated. Oh, you can't see. Oh, shit. I wanted to just see his stuff. We'll jump back in. The big thing is as a vampire, as more of like a living undead, vampires only have like a base of 16 morale. So this was just a bad choice for me to put the Rigor Mortis cast on someone who could potentially rout more easily rather than one of the liches who would not have routed as easily. So Rigor Mortis is now out of play, and we can see there's not enough fatigue on a lot of these units for it to matter. And that's unfortunate because some of this front line is starting to get there, right? Like, if we had Rigor Mortis up for another, 3, 4, 5 turns, right? Then there's absolutely the possibility. We can see we've got routes going on. These people are starting to unfatigue now. And that is really unfortunate. That's really, 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 really unfortunate. Boom. Okay. So we lost, and that was almost... we might have still lost because it was getting very close. They had got through most of our chaff, but we were very close to fatiguing out a large portion of the Ether Warriors, and basically all of the rest of the units had routed, right? Or were in the process of routing. So it was gonna be very close there. If we had only had a few more turns of Rigor Mortis being up, many of the Ether Warriors would have started to fatigue out, and then those remaining would have had that much harder of a time killing off what remained. So we might have still lost if the Rigor Mortis was cast by a Lich, but I think we would have been very close at pulling it off. As it is, we lose 80 Corpse Constructs, the 62 Ko-Onis. Our Vampire Lord does retreat successfully, as does our Mound King. We lose the 2 Liches and the gear associated with them, but that's really not that big of a deal. What did we get in exchange, right? Not a lot. We got 7 of their Equites, 9 of their Levies, 5 of their Long Dead. The Tartarians got killed, and we got 15 of their 59 Ether Warriors, which is not nothing, honestly, for the fact that this was a very low commitment scenario, and it was super close to working. That's kind of unfortunate, honestly. So, at the end of the day, a good idea, a solid try, and it could have worked if I had planned better for the fact that, you know, a Vampire Lord, 15 base morale, Vampire Lord versus 30 base morale, should have done it on the Lich, absolutely. So that's my bad. Anyways, very cool. And that's the battles for the turn. So, battles we have versus Urmor, 0 wins and 1 loss, and versus Indies, 1 win and 0 losses. Actually, really thought that fight was... I mean, it wasn't like the coolest, flashiest fight or anything like that, but it's fun to see how close we were. I did like a... You know, I did a really just look around at every single one of them. We had probably like 7 or 8 of the Ether Warriors fatigued out at the point where our Vampire Lord fled, right? Or right immediately afterwards, right? And we had probably another 20 or so that were at the 75 and above point, right? So really only needing like one more hit of the Rigor Mortis cloud to kind of like take over. So I do think we were really close. That really could have been a thing. Another thing that absolutely could have made the difference there is the fact that our Vampire Lord actually had a lot of death gems on him, and I had him on conservative casting because I forgot to take it off previously. If we had not done that and our Vampire Lord had just been allowed to burn death gems, 1 on the Rigor Mortis so that he could get into casting other stuff more quickly, but 2 on, you know, just random hordes of skeleton casting or things like that, we might have been able to get even more chaff out and not have things go as poorly, basically. I say as poorly, or go as they did. Anyways, moving on. We've got a couple of events. We've got several water elementals have been bound, so let's pop over to Bright Woods and look at what we're facing. Looks like we've got 4 new water elementals, because I believe we had the 1 and then we had the 5 that we got that one turn. So 4 new water elementals, which is pretty neat, honestly. Pretty cool. We're getting a little water elemental army going on over here, which is very, very neat. In Pannonia, an insect swarm is eating the crops and annoying the populace, so we actually get some unrest and minus 35 gold. Ooh. Rebirth of Into Silverwall, same in Hinwood, in Scardian Vale, in Tapanete. In Urful, Woods of the Fairy Court have been burned by a local lord, so we get a bunch of bad things, and we get 3 air gems. In God's Tomb, we lose tax and province income. In Missia, we gain income. And in God's Tomb, we lose income again. Oof. And then, yeah, the entrances are destroyed. So, events this turn, we actually get 4 large water elementals. We get gold, minus 35. Don't like that. And air, plus 3. Pretty interesting turn for events. And let's jump into the rest of the stuff. Continuing to move around Ko-Oni. That's really all that's happening in most of those places. Manabu is making a big jump trying to get over towards Feral Woods. Feral Woods is getting close. We've got 130 wood siege strength here. It's been the second turn. It's a 250 wall integrity place. So probably going to be next turn that it is cracked, which is cool. We're sending our Earth Gnome up there just to be an extra force. We're going to send an Onishugo out that way as well. We are sending Tsunemori down towards Akeno to kind of like provide assistance there. Sending Rage, Ray over here. I think the plan is to throw down a temple over here potentially next turn. And then we're just, really the only big thing is we're just gonna storm the castle at God's Tomb. We've seen what they have there. We know that that's not enough to do anything. There's a single augur. There's 3 Ether Lords. You know, there were 59 Ether Warriors, but now there's, 44 Ether Warriors. Ether Warriors still very dangerous, right? But we've got a lot of units here. Sea trolls, earth trolls, a lot of demons. Sure, the Ether Warriors will hurt the demons, will kill demons, but versus Army of Lead, Mass Regeneration, Mass Flight, Curse of Stones, etc., etc., I don't think it's gonna be enough. So I think we will be able to just storm castle and everything will probably be dead. We might have decent-ish losses, but I think it'll be mostly okay, and then we can turn right back around, head from God's Tomb up to Sanguine Swamp / Feral Woods, and go from there. That should be pretty exciting. So, that is going to be movement for the turn. For recruitments, our income is actually back on the rise. Pretty exciting about that. Partially because we have just been gaining a lot of territory from Ermor and from Helheim. I say partially, that's probably the biggest thing, obviously. But also because of rebirth events and things like that. We've actually got a lot of our new territory is very high unrest, so we're not getting nearly as much as we could out of it. That's going to take a long time for us to deal with. We do not deal with that very well. So that we might not have a good opportunity to deal with that, actually. So anyways, that's going to be that. Yeah. So let's talk about what we are doing this turn for recruitment, rituals, forging, that type of stuff. Recruitment, we actually do have recruitment this turn. We're back to recruiting Dionis. So 1 Dione, right, for recruitment this turn, and 2 Lizard Shamans. A Lizard Shaman over in Ancient Woods and over in Cormark. And that's pretty self-explanatory. Again, Dione is very good, the bread and butter of our scenario. Lizard Shamans are mostly there because I've been losing a couple here or there, and I would like to rebuild our ability to create some small communions for upcoming purposes against Ubar. Or, and this is also something that might happen a fair amount, Ubar, if I'm remembering correctly. Not there. It might not be correctly. Okay, it looks like I'm not remembering correctly. No, there's got to be like. Yeah, that's definitely not true. They're like Ifrits and Shiatens. They can have like astral cannons. Or I am summoned. What? The sultans can. 1 in 3 sultans, a little bit more than 1 in 3 sultans will, because they have a 100% chance for 3 different paths, one of them being astral, and then they have a 10% chance for 4 paths, one of them being astral. So a little bit over a third will be astral. Very, very little. I thought the Shayatans did as well, but I am correct. So this is less, oh, it's just the Ifrits. Well, never mind. I thought, that's unfortunate. I was thinking, I think Ubar is a good enough player to realize that, you know, an Astral Sultan is not a good thing to risk, right? Meaning that he's very unlikely to just let that get magic dueled or something like that. Regardless, though, that's you know, it is what it is. So we're still doing that. We're still producing lizard shamans. Still probably an idea. What else are we doing? We're doing some rituals, 9 corpse constructions, 1 curse of blood, and 1 awaken Ivy King, actually. So let me jot that down real quick. The corpse constructions, self-explanatory. The curse of blood, self-explanatory. Why are we doing the Ivy King? Ivy King, right down here, costs 30 gems, 4 nature, summons a Earth 4, I believe. Ivy. Earth 3. Why are we doing an Ivy King instead of like a Fairy Court? Oh, I think we're thinking of doing an Ivy King actually to set up like a whole scenario for Vine Ogres, right? Is what I believe I was thinking here. Ivy King. Ivy Kings aren't mindless, are they? Not what's happening. No, they're magic beings, actually. But they do have Ivy Lord, right? So they make more creatures when you do, like, Vine Ogres and Vine Men and stuff like that. So I think my intention here was the idea of I'm trying to figure out things that we can do to convert our gems into power. And I think, you know, a decent thing is having a couple of Ivy Men or Ivy Kings in places, you know, put Rings of Returning on them and then just have them cast. I mean, they need other pieces of gear, but we can make those other pieces of gear. And then have them just cast Vine Ogres every single turn. I believe that is... Awakened Vine Ogres gets 2 effects for 3 nature gems, but you can do... the Ivy King themselves has a +3 to that, and then you can do... Forge... What is it? It's the... Tree Lord's Staff is Vine Men and Vine Ogres, so that's a very expensive investment, but that can bump that up to 6 per, and then there is the Ivy Crown, which will be 7 per, and then I think there's also a unique artifact that you can do as well. I don't know if it's worthwhile to do the Tree Lord's Staff, right? It's definitely worthwhile to do the Ivy Crown. That's very easy to do. and very worthwhile. But I do think it's worthwhile to do the Ivy King, right? Because that gets you basically 3 extras. I just don't know if this is a good way to go with what we're doing. I'm not really sure what sparked this. I think again just the idea of trying to get as many of these things to go, but probably it would be a better idea to be empowering in nature, because I'm gonna need some safe nature ability to forge and things like that. So I'm not sure that this is a good idea to do this, but it is what I decided to do. There's that. Aside from that, we have some forging. Forging this turn is 1 crystal coin, 1 flask of holy water, and 1 armor of knights. Jot that down. Flask of holy water, we've talked about. That's continuing to happen with Lagash. Crystal coin, happening this turn with Emug. We need more astral scenarios, trying to build out as many astral situations as we can. Starshine Skullcap, Crystal Coin, etc., etc. Getting Rings of Returning on our golems as well, very important. Yeah, there's that. And then the Armor of the Knights we're building up here on Fusaki. That's literally just trying to slowly but surely build out armor sets, is what it is. We got that going on. And then the last thing, as you have seen already, right? We have 2 golems now. I talked about this last turn. Probably going to start empowering them. The easiest thing for us to empower in right now is Earth. So we're empowering both Rex and Emug 2 in Earth. So we've got that. This will allow them to be golem casters themselves. This will allow them to raid very effectively, right? Like being able to put like a Starshine Skullcap on them, and then some basic gear with a single like Earth Boots, or like a there's the Bloodstone or whatever is an option that we could go. They don't even need it though. Just being able to do basic gear like an Armor of the Knights or something like that on, we can probably just show it. Anybody doing stuff in a place that we can steal? Yeah, Tokamochi has stuff over here, right? So right, you can do something like this very easily. Boop. And so like this golem has a base of 23 protection there, and then being able to do something like Iron Skin, he's gonna be Iron Skin, Timber Flesh. He's gonna be just like many other golems would be. Very, very hard to kill. Can teleport into a place. Alternatively, you don't worry about that, and you just put like a Ring of Returning on him, right? So, we could start doing things like the like Ubar is doing, right? We're getting to the point where we're getting a fair amount of blood slaves each turn. We could start producing almost identical scenarios to Ubar. Just go in golem with a lifelong protection, and then you have a Ring of Returning if you get hit. You're gonna need a Starshine Skullcap so that you can teleport around. Maybe something like a what's a good Shademail Haberkin, right? So that you can stealth if you need to. Pretty simple stuff. So, anyways, got that kind of thing going. Continue empowering. So we got options. We're just flexing our ability to make choices there. This should be the last turn for Urmor. I'm pretty confident in this fight at God's Tomb Mountains. I don't think Urmor is going to pull anything out here. I think we're going to be relatively fine. We might have some heavy losses versus the Ether Warriors, but I think we'll mostly be okay. Then it's a matter of getting over to Feral Woods and Sanguine Swamp, and it's a matter of how long does Helheim survive before things How long does it take before Helheim is dead? Can Helheim, if we were to jump on Lunka now, right? Like, would that give Helheim the opportunity to continue fighting against Ubar successfully for a little while? Could that pressure take Helheim back into the game? I don't think so, but it might cause them to be able to last longer. I don't know. I don't know. Very interested to see where things go in the next few turns. There's some Vine Ogres. Maybe that's why I'm doing mine, because I got jealous. Maybe I was like, oh, I want my own Vine Ogres. A massive army over here in the below, by the way. I say massive. So not even at 1,000. Not even at 1,000. It's also mostly crap, just throwing that out there. For this having been a mountain and us having had it templed and in our dominion for most of the game, it has basically no specials. That's pretty much it. Aside from the Aka Onis, but you can get Aka Onis from other locations. That is not great. Maybe it is affected by your candles. Oh. Just feels like the free spawn rate, so it is definitely different versus having a bunch of Onishigo in a place, but they only produce Ko-Oni, so I guess technically it isn't different. I just don't feel like... I feel like Yomi should get more of their specials, right? Like, they get plenty of Ko-Oni, obviously. They get a fair number of Aka-Oni. I feel like they should be getting more Oni and Kuro-Oni, and the real specials, the fucking I don't remember the fucking name of them. The Onis in fucking armor is what they are. These guys. Amanajakus. There we go. Like, out of a nearly 100 turn game, I've gotten maybe 10 of these. Like, that's crazy. That number needs to be higher, or can we summon these? Is that an option? I don't even remember. No, we can get the Araburu Kamis, which are interesting, and they're kind of in the same vein, right, as those Amanajakus, but they're not. Well, I don't think so. Let's take a look at the Amano. Oh, it's AMA. Done. See, this is part of the annoyance of this game. Information is so incredibly hidden, right? Like, the fact that I have to, as a player of the game, right? I've played this game for like 3 years now, maybe a little longer actually. But as a player of this game, the fact that I have to go to the mod inspector, right, to try to figure things out, go to the wiki to try to figure things out, and that there just isn't a way to find this information in the game. Go to the PDF, the Illwinter PDF, right, to try to find things out. It's just like, Ay, ay, ay. I legitimately cannot find this unit. There it is. Okay, I found the Amano Jaku, and what's the other one? The Araburu? Araburu Kami. I can actually... Okay, so these are the... This is the Araburu Kami, and this is the Amano Jaku, right? So slightly more hit points, slightly better stats, right? Better strength, 2 more defense, 3 more precision, which is kind of whatever. Have a base 20 protection, because they have a Kabuto on their head, whereas the Amano Jaku do not, etc, etc. Shape change above HP. Ah, right, gotcha. This is what they normally are. And then this is what they shape change into. So, if they are above 25 HP, they are this. This is what, a stronger, slightly more damaging form? That's cool. Yeah, I mean, these are kind of comparable. I really just feel like this is... I don't understand... Well, I feel like Yomi has a very short end of the stick here. Right? Like, yeah. 1 sacred for 5 gems at Conjuration 7 for a Death and Fire, which you can only do with your Oni Shugo or Dai Oni as base, right? Like, that's so expensive. If this was like 2 or 3, then maybe, right? Or if this was stronger, right? If the Araburu Kamis were significantly stronger than the Amano Jakus, or if you got more Amano Jakus just as a base. I don't know. I'm kind of like, the balancing in the games just seems very wonky to me at sometimes, right? Like some nations have this crazy ability to scale into the late game. And I know some people are going to be like, yeah, but like this nation is really, really good at this time in the game. I'm not sure that that's the case. I've seen so many, I've been in so many games now, and I've seen so many games now. I've seen so many really fabulous players playing the game. And I've seen that, I mean, in good hands, just about any nation in this game can do just fine in the early game. Are there some that are better? Obviously, yeah, right. Some lend themselves more to, but there's a trick, there's a way to get almost any nation to work just fine through the early and into the mid game, right? It really does make me question why there are certain nations that just don't scale into the late game as a nation themselves. Like everything has the ability to scale into the late game through just the generic stuff that you can get through the research tree, right? But like some nations have crazy cool interactions themselves with their own specific national summons or spells or things like that, and then other nations just don't. They just don't, and it seems so strange to me. I don't know. I think things like this are super cool. I think they're super defining about a nation. But when's the last time you actually saw a Yomi? You see Yomi's a fair amount of time in games, right? And you see decently sized hordes of demons. You see Dionis, you see Onishigos, you see those things doing cool, right? Doing good stuff. But when's the last time you saw an actual unit of Amano-Jakus? When's the last time you saw Araburu Kami's actually doing something? Like, Gozu-Mezu, I've seen a little bit here or there get used, right? But even them, right? Fairly rare. Tengu, Daitengu, that type of stuff. Shikomes, that I've seen, right? I've seen more of that stuff. And really, I wish I had been jumping into that stuff more frequently. I've been waxing poetically about random shit for a while now. Probably time for me to jump in to the end of this episode. Having a lot of fun with this game. Really excited to see where it goes from here. This could be a really long game. This could be an explosive finish, especially if Lanka and Ubar decide to just come at me real hard. See how it goes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.